Sabin.
Sir, the reality is that in the world that we live in, and the nature of human nature is that there will always be conflict of some degree or another. And in that sense, sir, while I hear what the Green Party have just said, the reality is that the men and women of this country and most other countries in this world will have a body of people in a military service who will stand up for exactly the rights that the previous member, Jan Logie, was talking about, sir. And sometimes, unfortunately, that will involve bloodshed, conflict, heartache, and absolutely destroy the lives of not only those involved in the conflict, but those that are left behind, sir. That is the nature of the world in which we live. It is sadly a reflection of human nature, and we don't have to look very far in the world at the moment to see that exact conflict going on. And sir, I just want to acknowledge the men and women of the New Zealand Defence Forces and acknowledge the contribution that they've made in a modern warfare environment, sir, that more often than not involves peacekeeping. Acknowledge the contribution and the sacrifice that have been made in Afghanistan over a significant period of time, and also reflect back on the legacy that they picked up from those who have served in conflicts like Vietnam and Korea and back into the Great Wars, sir. This country can stand very proud of its sacrifice and its tradition to uphold and fight for the democracy and the freedoms that most of the world enjoy today, sir. And while in the green bubble, maybe it would be nice to imagine away the need to have that, sir, but the reality is it will always be needed. And in needing that, we will always need people who are prepared to put the service of their country ahead of the service of their own needs and their own interests. And so I just pay respect and homage to those people, both past and present, sir, because ultimately the reality is we need those people and always will. Sir, the Veteran Support Bill, there have been, I've enjoyed the conversation that has been had across the Select Committee and in the House, sir, and there has been some robust debate on some particular points and specifically around the lump sum benefit, sir. Obviously, while I think everyone can accept that there is no price that can be put on the service of an individual for their country in this regard, it doesn't be there's no comparison to any other level of service. But the reality is, sir, is what the Veteran Support Bill does in its totality is reflect the need to acknowledge the contribution made by some of our older veterans, but also acknowledge that there are some 20,000 or so modern-day veterans of war, and the Veteran Support Bill, having been a long time in its gestation, essentially from back in 2007 through that review period.
I'm sorry to interrupt the member. Could I ask I know you're probably talking tactics, can you just move to one side, please, so I can... Mike Sabin.
Thank you very much, sir. I've absolutely completely lost my train of thought, although having said that, I didn't when they were there having their tactical meeting. But, sir, let's don't forget about the 20,000 modern-day servicemen and what this bill does to reflect... What was that, Miss... Sorry? Yeah, change at the tie, indeed. What this does to reflect their modern service and the modern defence service, sir, alongside acknowledging the contributions of those past. I won't dwell too much on the nuts and bolts of this, sir. I think it's been very well traversed, and I acknowledge the points that have been made by, in particular, the Honourable Phil Goff. He has certainly debated vigorously, and I commend him, and I acknowledge exactly where it's going. Can I just thank the officials, in particular Major Rebecca Thornley, who got promoted during the course of this passage of the bill. I'd like to think it was because of the great service from the Select Committee, and I'm still waiting on her acknowledgement by way of some huge military shout, which I'm sure will be coming. Can I just acknowledge the Honourable Michael Woodhouse and also other Veterans Ministers and the Honourable Nathan Guy, who's just traversing his way past me as we speak, sir, how convenient, and also Judith Collins. Also just want to acknowledge Ross Miller, who is one of my executive but certainly has been involved in this work as a former major, former officer in the Army. Great contribution that he has made, Sarah. I commend this bill in its third reading.
So
I call Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take a call on behalf of New Zealand First.